And I think the theme maybe of tonight is the importance of resistance.
And international solidarity.
And international solidarity. And so I think there is a clip we want to play because the proceeds from tickets to come here, and I think there's something going around for if you want to donate more, are going to We Are Not Numbers. So if you're not familiar with We Are Not Numbers, it is an organization based in Gaza that was co-founded by Refaat Alareer, who is a Palestinian writer and intellectual that was assassinated.
Professor,
poet, translator, who was
father of six,
who was assassinated by Israel in December after spending the months prior to that basically running for his life and his family's life from shelter to shelter. For a long period of time, he refused to leave Gaza City when the Israelis were demanding everybody leave. He appeared many times and contributed a great deal to the Electronic Intifada, which I hope everybody here is familiar with. If you're not, please check it out. It's an incredible outlet, and the people there are wonderful. And he was staying in a shelter with his family, and he received a call from the Israelis in early December threatening him, saying, "We are going to kill you." So he left to protect the people in the shelter and went to hide at his sister's house, thinking that he'd be safe there. And the Israelis somehow managed to find him or know he was there, and they bombed the house and killed his sister and her 4 children and him. And this
surgical strike, like his apartment floor.
The apartment was bombed, but the building was not bombed.
They targeted him for assassination, and they succeeded. And I mean, you know, when you think about what the people in Gaza are enduring, they are enduring the worst situation imaginable to humanity. They are on the run constantly in the unsafest conditions imaginable.
And then they go to places where they're told are the safe zones, and then
and they still get bombed. They still get bombed. They go to the safe zones, which are really just death zones, evacuation zones as they call them. And there's just disease spreading. There's no water. There's no food. There's a recent statistic released that 4 out of the 5 people in the world that are starving right now are actually in Gaza. So these are the last couple months of this guy's life. But despite all of the horrors he endured, I think we need to remember some of his last words. And so we want to play a clip of Refaat, who appeared regularly on Electronic Intifada's live streams, which you should also check out because they do regular live streams to discussing what's happening in Gaza and the broader region. So can we play that clip, please?
And this is Ali Abu Nima from Electronic Intifada.
As you have said, as Khalil said, he doesn't know how to face his children. I don't know how to face you and to face people in Gaza. And I don't know how to say to you that I'm sorry we failed.
Thank you, Ali. I think we didn't fail. We did not. And that's when it comes to end. No, we didn't. We didn't submit to their barbarity. We didn't submit to their brutality. And even when this attack came when Gaza was in its weakest time possible. Look at what they did to the most invincible army in the area, the 4th strongest army in the world. The humiliation. But it's not only about that. This is not where we get our pride. We get our pride from staying principled at a time when everybody is not.
It makes me think of what you were saying about the fact that look at what people in Gaza are basically enduring and still fighting. I mean, it's his last days. This is what he was saying. So.
I think if there's something that Gaza has done as a people is rehumanize us. Like Gaza has deeply and I don't want us to take that lightly. We live in a system where they tell us this is happening far away. This has no connection to your life. You don't need to care. And you've seen people by the millions all across the globe demanding that this war in Gaza stops. That is rehumanizing people. And not only is it rehumanizing people, it's re-energizing movements. And that's what I mean. We cannot experience Gaza, not in the way that Gaza has, obviously, the people in Gaza experience it, but we cannot see what we've seen and unsee it. Like, we've seen it. We've witnessed it. And we cannot be left unchanged by that. We cannot. The people who have been killed, the over 20,000 souls that have become martyrs, that glory to the martyrs, but glory means being able to honor their lives. It means changing the system that has allowed for Gaza to be in the situation in which Gaza is. It means stopping the U.S. war machine. And there is no one that could play a much more historic role than the people living in the belly of the beast. No one else. We are responsible for stopping that beast. We are the ones that need to create that dent to allow people in Palestine to breathe, to allow people in Cuba to breathe, to allow people in Venezuela to leave, and for our own breathing. Like, this country pumped, in the Biden administration, pumped more money into the military, pumped more money into police departments. 2023 saw many more killings of black and brown youth on the streets, even though we might not hear it. Precisely because we too live in an open air prison. We too live in we know about displacement. We know about surveillance. We know about lack of access to health care. While our money, our tax money, pays for the colonizing body force in Palestine to have health care, to have housing that doesn't belong to them. And so it's a sense of morality, but it's also a sense of connection. Like, our lives are connected to the lives of the millions of people in Palestine, those who have been killed and those who are still alive, and we are responsible for them.
And their deaths cannot go in vain. And every baby, every child, every person who has died, they had dreams, they had hopes, families extinguished. We have to keep fighting for them.
That's right.
Their deaths cannot go in vain.
And I wanted to read something that Refaat had DM'd me one of the last times that we spoke over Twitter. I said, "Is there anything we can do from over here?" And he said, "Thank you for offering more pressure on the media, more coverage, more Palestinian voices, more protests. Hopefully Israel is curbed ASAP." So that's what we all have to do.
I think the takeaway from this entire evening and the very moving words you just spoke are what Abby just said. Do not let these deaths, these murders, these people be in vain. This is like a sacrifice that will change the world forever.
It has.
And it has already, and we cannot allow it to happen and nothing change. Something, so much has to change. So we have so much to learn from people like Refaat. And we also have to remember the US is escalating this. They're daring Iran, they're daring the Yemenis, they're daring Hezbollah, and there might come a time when a bigger war breaks out and they will use all the same tropes and they will let Israel do all the same things and they will start doing the same things. We have to be ready for that.
That's right.
We have to be ready
I don't
for
want to
that.
live in a world where this is allowed.
Right.
This is not the world that I accept. So unless we fight to change this is not the world that I'm to be comfortable living in.
And our fight is in different fronts. Like, all of us occupy space. People have platforms, people have communities, people have, we have been told for many years that giving our votes away is the only political act that we have. And that is bullshit. Nothing can be further from the truth. Nothing can be further from the truth. We have to reclaim the history of struggle that we have in this country that has been intentionally robbed from our consciousness. We need to reclaim it. Yesterday, people were having all sorts of debates about Martin Luther King. When Martin Luther King was shot, he was gearing more towards socialism and talking about the economic system, talking against militarism, talking about white supremacy as all connected. He was talking against the war in Vietnam very clearly. And he also had words to say about Israel and its 1967 expansion. He had words
Yeah,
to say
Amy
about
Schumer.
that.
He was planning an occupation, a full-scale,
Yeah.
like Occupy Wall Street prototype.
And he died at a labor
And
protest.
he died. He was assassinated in
Yeah, he was
1968 because he touched what the United States does not like people touching, which is the economics. Once you touch the economics and you start talking about economic power, they will shoot you.
I mean, look at Yemen. Look at Yemen. Yemen messed with their economy a little bit.
Just a little
and they
bit.
were like, drop
Working
the
on
bombs.
bombs.
Yeah.
Drop the bombs.
So we killed
When you're a
people
hammer,
for
everything's a
not.
nail.
It's just insane. Like I think a lot of people probably think that Yemen killed people because of the way they talk about targeting.
Zero.
They've killed 0 people, and those are the people we've responded to
And
militarily.
the U.S. has killed at least 15 Yemenis in their bombings, both on their ships and in their
But you
actual
know what?
land.
They can't kill solidarity. Because Yemen was like, you know what? Y'all want to do this? Let's go.
They were like, bring on
They were
World
like,
War
bring
III.
the whole team. We got you. That's
World War
solidarity.
III.
World War III, yeah.
Back
Bring
to that
them on.
song. Back to that song.
Yeah,
Back to that great song.
I mean, Claudia, it's so. Your words are so poetic, and also they ring so true, especially when we see like labor unions and all of the union efforts that have really ramped up, all of the labor struggles, and all of the linking together of that international solidarity with Palestinians, understanding the link from Israeli forces training our police forces at home, the over-policing of our neighborhoods. And so it's that international solidarity, it's that international understanding. And it's the struggle that we have to connect all of our struggles, right? And we have to coalesce, we have to put those bridges down and connect with each other. Because again, like, this is not, humanity is dead if we allow this to be the new normal, and if we allow mass murder and mass death to be normalized. And it already has been.
I just want to say, so much horrible shit has happened. But in a weird way, did I say, we're not allowed to say shit?
No.
I mean, we've said a whole bunch of things, Katie.
That's
Oh, like a whole bunch of things.
That's your line. That's your line. Well,
That's where you draw the line?
I was going to say.
No, I wasn't saying that. I was
never-
like, but I was waiting for her.
Well,
her butt.
I've just never felt, in a weird way, as messed up as the world is right now, I've never felt more hopeful.
This moment is right for revolution. Because let me tell you something. If you leave this place, leave with this. Karina says this all the time. That's the hopeful person she is. She
That's
says,
her running mate.
Yeah,
Claudia's running mate.
That's my heart. She says, revolution always seems impossible, but when it's done, it was inevitable. Revolution always seems impossible. You talk to the people who made the revolution of 1804. Well, you can't talk to them. But you go back in history to
Let's have a seance.
1804 in Haiti. I'm sure those folks didn't think that was possible, and they made it happen. You think about Cuba. They probably thought that, oh, my God, like, are we going to be able to do this? And they did it. And you probably never thought that October 7th would happen. But it did. And it's changed us forever. And so revolution is impossible. But when it's done, it was what? Inevitable.
Free Palestine. Free
Free
Gaza.
Palestine.
Free Yemen.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Thank you so much for coming out.